All right. Allie, it is the top of the hour, and I can't believe that we got the top Friday slot. So, for those of us who are here today, congratulations, you've made it to the end of the work week. You're almost here to the holidays, and we're very, very fortunate that you have decided to spend the next 45 minutes to an hour with Allie Flanagan and myself. First off, though, we get to discuss a little bit legalese before we dive into next level listing marketing with AI. Of course, Allie, we got to remember that we have to stay TCPA compliant because orange does not look good on most of our skin tones. So please make sure you read the disclosures very, very carefully and that you honor making sure that we are using nothing but driven marketing that is also permission based. A couple of notes around AI. Please know that any text or materials generated by AI should be reviewed for accuracy and reliability. There could be errors, there could be omissions. Please carefully choose your journey. Make sure that you do not input confidential financial or proprietary information into any AI tools. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Next slide, Allie. Before we get started, you should probably know who the two of us are. We have known each other for a long time, and we're not sure we've known you as long as we have known each other. Allie, say something. Say hello, hello to our group today.
Hi. Thanks so much for joining. We're excited.
Yeah, we're really, really recharged to share with you how Allie's team has not only used AI at a super high level, but how Allie, as one of the most seasoned directors of operations that we actually have in our KW ecosystem, has been using AI to save her organization thousands of dollars every year. My name is Gabi Brennesholtz. I'm delighted to serve as the director of coaches here at MAPS. I've been a MAPS coach myself for, Allie, can you believe it, 9 years and 10 months. So it's almost been a decade where I've had the pleasure of helping about 200 business owners, all the way from, hey, how do I sell a house going from 0 to 50 units to, hey, how do I scale to 1,000 units, building massive wealth and even getting out of the business so that they don't have to sell real estate at all anymore and can simply sit on an island. So I've been doing that only through MAPS. I've clocked in just about over 13,000 coaching hours, and one of the most delightful teams I get to coach is, in fact, Allie Flanagan's team, where you serve as the director of operations. Allie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I have been the director of operations with the Kimberly Davis Group. We're out of Dallas, Texas for 6 years now. I've been all around the map. So I was a transaction coordinator, a listing coordinator, an operations manager, and then director of operations, where I started to oversee the P&L with the lovely coaching guidance of Gabi. And so since then, we have been streamlining our marketing programs, our listing programs, and everything to make sure we're just not leaving any extra meat on the bone. And in that journey, I've ended up being able the opportunity to speak on AI and technology and systems over the past year. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, and you travel. I mean, to be clear, you're a national speaker on AI listing marketing systems, which is why I couldn't help but tap you on the shoulders this year and say, hey, let's not keep this a secret, because truly what you and the Kimberly Davis Group have built thanks to AI and your superpower of being extremely systems minded cannot stay a secret. So today our goal is to make this highly, highly tactical and practical so that when you go back to the YouTubes and the tweets and the face pages, that you're going to be able to listen again to this recording, that you are going to get all of the tools that we're actually using and how this is having an impact on the P&Ls of real life teams like the Kimberly Davis Group. Allie, take it away.
Yay! Okay, so before we get to the AI magic, I want to give you a picture that will anchor everything that we're going to talk about today. So I want you to think about the listing process, the real magic secret sauce, like a car. It's a simple analogy, but it solves so many of the mysteries that I see agents struggle with. And most agents never really get to make that connection, right? Because here's what usually happens. The average agent throws their listing on MLS, it syndicates everywhere, and then it sits there, and then frustration builds for the seller, for the agent, for your admin, right? Everybody involved. And what they're not realizing is that they never actually built a car in the first place, right? Instead of a car, they were out here trying to sell homes in a go-kart on a highway in traffic, uphill, and with no gas. So today I want to take a second so we can build this car together. And here's how it works. I want you to think of pricing like your engine. If the engine isn't calibrated, the car isn't going to go anywhere. So we have to start with our pricing. You're getting a full little listing mini class in here. Second thing is our condition. That's the body of the car, right? So this is what people see when they go into a showing. This is the paint. This is the curb appeal. These are all of the little, nitty gritty things that have to do with condition. And your pricing and your condition have to be in proportion to each other. If you don't have those two parts of the car built, by the time you get to marketing, which is your gas in the tank, you're going to notice that your car might not run, right? But if you have your pricing and your condition in order, by the time you get to marketing with that gas, this is literally the thing that's going to make the car move, right? No gas, no movement. Bad gas, slow movement. But if you have premium gas, that's a smooth ride, right? That's quick acceleration, and you can get where you want to go with that listing a whole lot faster. So what road are we driving this car on? The buyer pipeline, right? So a lot of people's checklist jumps from listing launch to under contract, but there are quite a few little micro steps that happen in between those two phases. And when you can get super duper clear on how to get from one of those micro steps to the other, it becomes a seamless process in diagnosing what could be wrong with the listing or what we need to do in order of our marketing. So those micro steps are, from the time we go active on the market, we want to get silent scrollers to be engaged viewers. We want those engaged viewers to schedule showings or show up to an open house or come see the house in person some way, shape, or form. And then those people that see the house become our offers written, right? And that's the road. And your job is to get your car, your listing, moving through that pipeline as efficiently as possible. So today, we are making a car. And if you have a good moving vehicle already, congratulations. We're going to upgrade it with a few tips and tricks. That's where the AI comes in. We're tuning it. We're giving it premium gas. We're cleaning up the windshield so people can actually see what they're doing. If you're on this call and you're realizing that you're in a go-kart, also great, because today is day one of building a better listing process for you and for your clients. Either way, I want to be really clear that AI is not the car. AI is what helps your car run smoother, faster, cheaper, and with less emotional wear and tear. Okay, so let's jump in to talk about how we know if the wheels are actually turning. These are some of the minimum healthy eyeball metrics that I look at to make sure that we're going to get the result that we want. 1,000 views in a week tells me that the market even knows our listing exists. Saves show us intent. So they're the digital equivalent of someone circling a house in a magazine and tearing the page out. And shares mean that people are saying, hey, babe, look at this one, right? It's the modern version of honey, stop the car, is sharing it. So we're tracking all of those things. And if we're not hitting these numbers or we don't see movement in these numbers week after week, the car might not be broken. It might just not be getting seen. And that's where we get into an eyeball problem. That's the gas. That's the marketing piece. And we want to fix that before we go look at anything else. So this is the heart of modern listing marketing, right? Is stopping the scroll, leading with your strongest photo so you can earn the swipe. And when I mean swipe, I mean that they're clicking into your listing. So if they're scrolling on your website or realtor.com or Zillow.com, they're clicking into the listing and look at the remainder of the photos. If they're seeing it on social media, they're swiping through to see the details. They're scrolling down to the description, right? We live in a world where you have like 0.3 seconds to make an impression. Leading with the front elevation shot is not always the move anymore. Sometimes it is. I would say majority of the time it is. I'm going to throw out a number and say something like 80% of the time. And we're going to talk about that. But sometimes it's your kitchen that's the showstopper. Sometimes it's the master bath that's been completely remodeled. Sometimes it's the backyard that looks like just, a peaceful oasis. Your job is not to be polite to the house. I'll even controversially say your job is not to showcase the flow of the house as your main priority. Your main priority is to put the prettiest picture first so you can stop the scroll. And the moment you stop the scroll, that means that you have eyeballs locked in on the property, and that's how you earn the swipe. And the first swipe is arguably where your first showing starts. So the next natural question is, Allie, how do I stop the scroll? Okay, don't have any amazing shots on the interior. I'm going to go with the exterior. It's, decent. How do I make my photos captivating enough that they're going to pique interest? And so here is one of my little favorite AI hacks, AI twilights. Right? You've probably heard of twilights before. Saturated color, high contrast, all of those things are really attractive to the eye. But what's been a barrier previously is just that they're kind of costly, right? Especially for something, if you're not sure that that's really going to be the gas on your listing. I know my photographers here in DFW charge me around $100 for 4 Twilight images, but using AI, I can get it down to $1 and some change per photo, right? So at that point, it becomes a no-brainer. So here is an example shot. I'll show you exactly how we're going to create this in the tool. No design talent required. If you can upload a photo, you can do AI Twilights. So this is our original shot, and this is our AI Twilight enhanced shot. So we use this exact strategy. We used it in an exact strategy in one of our listings recently. This is a listing that has been listed way longer than I'd like to admit. It is a newer rookie on the team. We're going to give him some grace, okay? But anyway, we switched a photo. We switched the front photo. We did an AI Twilight shot. And I kid you not, this house had no showings the entire time it was on the market, and it got 4. And this was recently. We changed the shots on November 18th. We had 4 showings since then and 2 offers since we changed the photo. Now, causation does not equal correlation, but I will say there was no price reduction. And there was nothing else changed, right? Just the Twilight and then reboosting all that marketing back out. So I've seen firsthand how this can make a really big difference. There was nothing wrong with the house. There's nothing wrong with the car, right? It just wasn't getting that initial scroll stopping moment. So let's look at how we actually do this. So the platform we're going to use is AI Home Design, right? And what you do is you get coins for every photo that you're going to edit. It's a monthly subscription. And I'll upload our picture straight into here. There's like 4 different sky replacements that I can pick from, which is nice because if I decide that maybe I have 2 weeks with one Twilight shot, sometimes I'll go in and switch out the Twilight shot because people that maybe saw my listing and I didn't stop the scroll, they see the different Twilight shot and they think it's a different listing, right? So they actually do end up stopping maybe the second time around. So because you have so many different options, you can actually go in here and mess with it. Sometimes I'll flip it to be a backyard Twilight shot. So if I have those 4 pictures that I was getting from my photographer before, I can now make all 4 in here except for $1.17 a photo instead of $100 a photo, right? So it's bringing that cost down. It's stopping that scroll. Okay, so on this same metric of wanting to stop the scroll and keep things as beautiful as possible, right? Our first showing, we're going to talk digital staging. We live in a very visual society. Buyers, they buy for scale, layout, context, and the story of the space. They do not buy confusion. Our average in-person accessory stage was running us about $600 for a partial stage, right? But we started using AI staging and we got this down to about $7 a photo. So the nice thing about this is that it allows you to really go in and do some work on every listing if you want to, not just the ones where the budget makes sense. And then I'll put a little asterisk and caveat here before I start talking more about this. Digital staging is not for every listing, right? You have to figure out what's going to work in your market and what's going to make sense for your inventory. We have some rules that we've come up with, some guidelines that make sense for our market, right? Normally, if our listing is at the median home value for our area or below, I can get away with digital staging. If my condition is good, so my price and condition are in ratio, I can get away with digital staging. When we're not getting any bad feedback, we're not getting feedback that buyers are going in disappointed, we're not doing a gotcha moment. So we do make some guarantees there with the little buttons so people know some things are digitally staged, or we'll put the photo behind the digitally staged version, right? So it's not a trick, but you have to come up with your guardrails that are really going to help you navigate which homes this makes sense on. But here's another example, right? The house is cute. The car was cute. The pictures, the price, the condition was all cute. The furniture was not cute, right? And so it's kind of an eyesore. It's not exactly going to stop the scroll. So we put some digital staging love on it, right? And it gets people to go in for the showing. Again, as long as we don't go into a dirty house where the floors are ripped up and the condition is super underwhelming, we haven't had any issues with people feeling like, again, they're having a gotcha moment with this. And with this platform, I love Apply Design. I've been using it for, I think, almost 2 years now. You upload your photos and then it'll actually remove all the furniture out of it for you. You tell it what kind of room it's staging and you tell it what style you're going for. There's a couple of other advanced features that you can pick on, but it's actually going to stage the whole thing for you. So you don't have to be a designer. You don't have to play adult Sims if you don't want to. I do like to play adult Sims a little bit. So I do come in here and sometimes say, oh, I want to flip out the couch, or I don't know about, the gray, color palette going on. And you can do that. You can get as granular as putting a mirror. You can say, I want my pillows to be this specific color. I could add a half drinking water glass on that coffee table if I wanted to. So it's a really good program when it comes to the functionality. It'll snap all of your furniture in place, so you don't have to get super frustrated on if it's, against the wall or not. It'll take the same room and put it into a different angle of the room, so you don't have to play with those things. And then you can also, in this download screen, you can download the raw photo. So you can take it with all the furniture removed. So that's something that we would do. I wouldn't put the ugly couches back on my MLS. I would take the one where all the furniture was removed out. And then I would have the digital staging photo as well. And then I can do some more cinematic things. So like in here, I can actually download a little video of it digitally staged. So I can actually use that as a moving video with the lights changing. And I can even add in some more graphic effects with the AI. So that way it looks a little more like a magazine shot, right? Because there's a difference on the photo that I'm going to use for MLS versus the photo that I might push out in my marketing, right? On my Instagram or my Facebook or my whatever. So it gives me some functionality there to get a little bit more detailed, right? With the AI to make it look a little more realistic and a little more a magazine, a little more editorial. So speaking of social media, we're going to jump right in. We're going to talk about it, right? So our brains, the reason why I would do that with apply design and taking the videos or using the editorial picture is because our brains are magnetically drawn to movement, especially quick and smooth movement, right? Another way to stop the scroll is to create reels. I think that we've all kind of bought into this idea of video, right? Video is kind of expensive. I don't know if anyone over here is, priced out some reels with their photographer, but traditionally our services run about $150 for 2 to 3 reels from our photographer company. And they normally take about 48 hours to come in. So we'd get our pictures and we get our reels 2 days later. And that's hard. If we're, up against the wire, we're trying to get everything, our marketing launched in a timely manner, right? We didn't want to necessarily wait on the videos. So with the AI program that I'm going to show you to do our reels, we can do $50 a month for 4 to 5 reels. And that is, you can go up on prices with that. But that's still $50 a month for 4 to 5 reels. So it's beating the cost, it's beating the speed. And I have a little bit more control on the curation of what we're actually covering in that reel, right? Because when our photographers would go out, they are usually doing the whole house. But now that I can focus in, I can say, okay, I want this reel to just be the money shots of the property, right? Or I really want it to be only a couple of shots, so my reel is shorter, so it gets more replays. So I can have a little bit more strategy behind it because we have a little bit more control, right? And I can own a bit of the pacing in the stories. So this is an example of one of our AI reels. So that was a tech stack because I did a digital twilight, a virtual twilight, and then that was the reel. And this is not photographer driven. This is just from our static photos. It'll move the fans. I can give it really specific instructions if I wanted it to like focus in on the window a little bit more or focus in on the fireplace. I can tell it that I want it to turn or zoom out or pan in. It's moving things in the wind. It's going to move the water. So there's a lot of functionality, right, with this program. Here's another one where it's reel orientation. So the other one was a little bit more of a YouTube orientation. Same thing. These are just pictures. Moving those fans. You can speed it up, slow it down, doing a little bit more of a pan situation. And this is a little bit of a longer reel too. I normally don't try to do them this long. I'd rather do more photos cut up more frequently. So we're doing a couple of more shots.
And Carrie was also just asking in the chat, what if you make your own reels? Is that too unprofessional? I would say, of course, it's wonderful if you are a professional videographer and if you have a high quality camera that can achieve the same effect. The idea is simply that if you're starting to take a volume of listings and you know that you have certain types of listings where you may have to optimize your time and your dollar amount, right? Because maybe you're not the one going out anymore and maybe you no longer want to pay your professional photographers hundreds of dollars to create those reels, that this might be a much more economical option for you.
That's exactly it. And when we see taking your own reels, if you are in a farm that's close to your office, that's you're the one taking the sign, that's really different. When we get to the threshold, because we do anywhere from 40, 50, 60, I think we push 70 listings in a year. And this we design our systems to scale as we bring on different, agents that are front loading their business with listings. What we've noticed is that as those listings get further out, and they sit on the market a little longer, you need more types of content. So you might be out there taking your own footage. We found ourselves in that position. We took our own footage, right? We had our listing coordinator or a runner go out and they got the reel and we posted it. We went on the market, but then we stayed on the market. And so then we needed different things, right? We needed different types of video to go out because we needed to post this thing like every week. So it's another way that you can kind of stack those two strategies together.
Perfect. And Ellie, go back one more time and tell us what the app was for the reel creation.
Yes. So right here, it's going to be agentpulse.ai. And Agent Pulse is really great because I can actually import my photos straight from Zillow. So if it's already live on the market, because I totally suggest go back and do this with your listings that are sitting on the market right now. I love this as a retroactive tool. Maybe you didn't launch with video, but now you can get that video. And also some of our sellers were like, when did you get this? This is amazing, right? And we're just using the pictures, but you can import your pictures straight from a Zillow link. You can also just upload them from the folder. This is where you'll go in. You can fix all of your custom instructions. You can tell it how you want it to pan. You can reorder the photos, and then you can mess around with it. There are different edits that won't require you to spend any additional coins, but then there are a couple in here. If you switch out the photo, it'll ask for a different coin. That's why I say 4 to 5 reels. If you are really good at knowing which pictures you want, you can get more reels out of it. And if you make your reels shorter, you can get even more reels out of it.
I would also imagine it if some of you are here and sell hundreds of homes just like the Kimberly Davis group does year after year. So maybe something that you can also do now that maybe in your market, the days on market have gotten longer and longer and longer. This could be an incredible seller retention tool in order to be able to say, here's what we're doing. And so as the first 60, 90, 120 days go by, or perhaps it's because you have a niche property in the luxury space or in the commercial space, you now pull the same listing pictures, you could plop them into AI, and you could quickly churn something out like this. You don't have to be an ops wizard like Allie. You could be a real estate gal like Gabi. And in my mind, Allie, this is something that even I could do, and then
Yep.
look like $1 million when I show up on my weekly seller update conversation to say, here's what we've done in addition to, right, the marketing that we shared with you to continue to work hard on your behalf, Mr. and Mrs. Seller.
Yep, you're exactly right. Every single thing I just showed you, the digital twilights, the staging, and the video reels, if you can upload a photo, you can do this. Super simple stuff. Okay, so switching gears ever so slightly. So those are the things that are front facing. That's the marketing. That's what's going to make your car run. That's your gas, right? But I want to talk about 2 things that are going to make your operations and your systems, your processes run smoother for you, or if you're on a small team, or if you have an ops person or a VA, right? Between your internal team. So Notebook LM, I want you to think of this as your car's dashboard, right? It reads what's happening inside of the car. So all of your documents that have to do with the listing, your disclosures that you've been collecting, your client questionnaires. We have our clients fill out 2 questionnaires. Well, I have my agents fill out 1 questionnaire, and then I have my clients fill out 1 questionnaire, and we use all that information to create a really cohesive, detailed listing. I upload those documents into Notebook LM. Same thing with the comps. So our agents pull their preliminary comps. We put that into Notebook LM. Everything, any reports, we will build out a Notebook LM for each listing. And that's how I've been able to keep pace with all of the, selling season. So from spring break to like September, when you've got all of your listings coming to the market at one time. The nice thing about Notebook LM is that it's a closed source, right? It's a closed loop. So it's not relying on what the model that it's been trained on to hallucinate or make things up. So there's a high level of accuracy when it comes to Notebook LM. And there's a couple of really cool functionalities in there that can really help you give out your information to your agents. Like you can make a little podcast. So if you as an agent are a little more of an auditory learner, you could even download like a 5-minute podcast based off of everything you gathered on this house. Or you could have your VA do it for you and send you the little podcast. And then you can also build out these notebook LMs based on areas. So we list a lot of homes in Plano, Texas. So I can put all of those homes in one area, and that's just on one notebook. And that's just going to make it really easy for me to go grab all my data from all the Plano homes that we sold. So that makes the custom, if I need to add like a extra PowerPoint slide to our listing presentation, or just be able to go grab those numbers, I can go grab it from the notebook. So it's your internal system, right? Whereas on the other hand, using custom GPTs, I want you to think of that as your co-pilot, right? So they take all the data that you give it and train it on, plus everything that it knows from its massive pre-trained model with OpenAI, right? And so I can put in things like, it's going to give me the output, like marketing language, different tactics and strategies, whatever I'm training it on, to help me go communicate externally. So that's where I like to use it on the marketing piece. In my opinion, you need both. You need something to keep you internally organized, and then you need something to help you with your external message and marketing. And we're going to talk more about message and marketing here in a second. But I did want to show you just briefly what this looked like. So in Notebook LM, this is where you can upload all of your sources. You can also paste text in here. You can link YouTube videos. You can link websites. So I'll link things like HOA websites. And again, all that stuff that I'm out there gathering to go fact check my listing, or, just make it as good as possible and making sure that I have all the details. And I can ask it really simple questions. When you have 60 listings on the ground and someone asks you, what are the features that they've updated? Sometimes your mind goes blank, right? But if you have Notebook LM in the app, you can have it craft that message, and in a way that you could copy and paste it to a buyer, or copy and paste it to a realtor that you're following up with. I know for us, we follow up on every single showing manually. We want that feedback. We want to know what people are thinking. Sometimes they'll ask us a question, and so you can pop back into your Notebook LM and pull out that organization. On the custom GPT side of things, these are just a couple that we have made on our team where we're using it to do something really specific on the marketing. So one GPT per type of marketing that we're putting out. And these are built out to where I can just paste my listing description in here or upload my MLS PDF. And it's going to pull out, this one specifically is pulling out each slide that I would need for my carousel post, because we get great engagement on carousel posts. It's another way to boost this listing that doesn't look the same as the post I made about the same listing before. This custom GPT now on the screen is going to give me a script so I can do a video post about the listing, right? And it's going to give me the 2 types of text that I need on screen, and then everything I need to say after that. So they're all built out for a different marketing strategy, but to piggyback on the same listing, right? You should be able to maximize one listing to get as much exposure as possible. A, it helps your seller, but B, it helps you to switch up your messaging. And we're going to talk about that more in a second. So I don't want to get too in the weeds there, but I do want to show you some of these posts and how they work. The goal, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love that our past clients follow us, right? And we're definitely trying to nurture our audience. But what I'm trying to do with these posts is get non-followers to pay attention, to get non-followers to go to our profile, to get non-followers to engage with us and have a conversation and click on our links and go down our, click funnel rabbit hole. And so these types of posts are really great because it stops the scroll, right? It's not the static, regular, just listed post that you're used to seeing. And it's piquing your interest from slide 1. And as we continue down, you're seeing different types of clips. I'm showing you about the area. I'm showing you, let me go back here. Oh, I'm showing you some of the fun things going on in the bathroom, right? And so the custom GPT is making all of that creation an easier lift so we can push it out at mass. Because if I am trying to do a carousel post for every single listing, you can see how that could take a lot of time. And because I love you guys so much, I'm going to share one that we use all the time on the team. This is how we make our carousel posts. So feel free to snag it and play around with it.
Wait, this is where the crowd went wild. The phones are coming out. This is like a Taylor Swift concert that I'm seeing here with everybody on the screen. Yeah, take the screenshot. It's also in the recording.
Take it.
Best
Take it.
moment, Allie. You crushed it.
Gotta show you guys some love. I gotta give you something easier, but go play with it, right? That's gonna show you, use my GPT until you can build your own. That sounds a little bit more like you, right? But yes, if you see Kim Davis at family reunion, tell her thank you because she's giving you a freebie there. Okay, so here's what the savings actually looks like in real numbers, right? I took a screenshot of our photography bill. And when we stacked all of these tools together, so Twilights, our staging, our reels, our agent organization, right? So you'll notice that we had a reshoot fee, a split appointment, not using Notebook LM to keep things right. We missed some key shots that we knew we needed to get, but because things were moving too fast, we had to send the photographer back out there. Right. So when we take what we were spending, it drops dramatically. Our old total was $784. Our new total was about $502. That's a $282 savings per listing just on the media side. Right. And that doesn't include the time savings, which is honestly just as big of a win. Right. And this is where your workday and your wallet feel the relief in tandem. Before AI, I allocated about 4 hours of ops time per listing for marketing tasks, assuming in my area that things were sitting on the market for about 50 days. We beat that number out this year, by the way. So we got that days on market down because our marketing efforts went up, and we decreased our ops time on each file by 50%. So now we spend 2 hours of marketing time over the course of a listing in ops time. And those are higher quality spent 2 hours, right? In a perfect world, you're attracting 2 buyers for every listing that you put on the market. And with solid marketing, you can match the message to different types of audiences. So realistically, for each listing, I should be able to focus in on multiple different messages and use the house as a doorway to my actual message or my actual target audience. So for example, maybe I use my listing as a doorway to talk about a specific school district that I tend to do a lot of business in or know a lot about, right? That post would attract, it would stop the scroll for a target audience of maybe people thinking about expanding their family, or people that are trying to buy, right, based on the schools for little kids, right? On the same vein, maybe my doorway to my listing, I could use that same listing and talk about the 4 different trails within a 5-mile radius, right? Same listing, getting eyeballs on the same listing, but now I'm attracting my active adult community, right? And I'm going for that target audience. So that post is going to stop the scroll for them. So one listing should be stopping the scroll, but you're not gonna be able to stop the scroll for everybody all at the same time. That's where your marketing strategy and your marketing message comes in and becomes really super important, because you can use one listing and person A might not have ever noticed you posted it last week, but when you post it this week, it's speaking directly to them. And now person A is clicking on the link in my bio and going through my ClickFunnels and registering on my website because they want to see more. Right. And they might not be interested in that listing, but they might be interested in working with me because I know a lot about the market that they're potentially interested in. Right. And so when we build out these systems, we empower ourselves with tech that does the heavy lifting. And now your ops person is not just spending 2 hours on marketing, or yourself, you might be your own ops person, you might have a VA, right? So I want to expand the definition of what support looks like. But now they're not just being a task executor, right, on your marketing checklist, but they're actually bringing in business from the marketing side as a byproduct at scale, right? Because we're getting more tailored in. So let's say that you have an ops person and they're salaried at about $45,000 a year. This efficiency alone not only saves thousands annually, but it gives them a way to actually bring in an ROI, return on investment, on their salary, not just an ROT, return on your time, right? And the magic happens when we can hit both. So everything in this class, I know I went a little fast, but the recording is going to go out. Everything in this class is rooted in the belief that you are absolutely capable. You were never behind, right? You're just missing the shortcuts. And these tools don't replace your expertise. They just amplify it. They're going to give you back time, clarity, and confidence, and give you that consistency that you really need so your listings look like they belong in the market that you want to be playing in and getting more business in.
100%, Allie. Here's what's so cool, because what you're describing, whether I am just now in my first year of real estate and I crushed it in 2025, I'm getting ready to scale, or whether or not I'm taking 10, 20, 50 listings every month, right? The 3 places that you're taking us to today to think about on how we can optimize our personal brand and reach externally, and what we can do to keep our P&L optimized so that we're always staying within the 30% expenses that Gary Keller recommends in the budget model, right, can be done regardless of which level you are currently at. And that's what had us so excited to make sure that you understand, like, this can be for anyone. And if you have a large organization that isn't already doing this, perhaps you want to decide to just pick 1 or 2 of those tools to effectively replace 1099 work that you could be hiring in, Or if you're in growth mode right now as a team, you could decide that this is going to save you enough money because of the listings you are on pace to take for next year, so that you can hire administrative help for less money to use the tools and the AI. Ali, let's jump into the chat. I know there were a few questions that had come up. There's a huge request for a one pager with the links and with the AI platforms. I think we can generate that easily, and everybody can email us. Ali and Gabby will put our email addresses in the chat so the good people can find us. And of course, we can be found on any major platform as well, because that's the world we live in, Ali.
Yes, I love it. A one pager is definitely doable.
Perfect. And then, yeah, Anita just said, oh, the QR code opened up on my chat GPT. Fantastic. I don't get what exactly I can do with it. Can someone explain?
Yes, so you can, the QR code that I gave you specifically is going to create those carousel posts. So all you have to do, go take one of the listings you have on the market right now. If you don't have anything listed, go to your brokerage, figure out who will let you market their listing. Everyone should be saying yes, say yes, get those eyeballs, and take the description, right? You can just paste that in. You could also just PDF the MLS sheet printout and upload it to the custom GPT, and it'll come up with your carousel slides. It'll tell you these are the 3 titles that you should consider from slide 1, and then this is what you should put subsequently in each slide. That chat GPT, custom GPT is trained and has been altered by all of our data on which carousels work, which ones actually get clicks, which people, when people go to our profile, I can see when people click on the sticker to go to our profile or when they actually go to our website from our social media pages. And so it's been trained on that data to know which words and phrases and things are likely to help you convert.
Perfect. So it's already a smart GPT. Let's go back to the QR code one more time. The fourth request meant that the masses wanted it one more time. Ali, thank you so much.
There we go.
There we go. Yep. Take it. Take a screenshot. One more Taylor Swift concert moment right now with the phones going up too. Perfect. Yes, play with it. And if you have any further questions in regards to all things AI or where else you might be able to find Ali next year in the world, feel free to email her at ali@kimcan.com. Her email is in the chat as well. And for those of you who made it until the very end today, thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's to you maximizing your AI tech skills and your P&L in 2026. Happy holidays, everybody, and we'll see you on one of the upcoming holiday calls next week.
Thanks, y'all. I'll leave it open for a second so you guys can grab emails. Everybody that's on the call. Thank you.
And once more, Ali Flaningan out of Greater Dallas of the Kimberly Davis Group. You have seen her not just on the socials, you have seen her on the national stages at Family Reunion. You have seen Kimberly Davis at the national stages at Family Reunion. And I'm Maps Coach Gabby over here at Maps. Thank you, Graham, for being here with us today as well. And we're always open to taking additional questions you may have after our holiday call.
Thanks so much for having me.